world's top central bankers and economic thinkers have gathered for one of the most closely watched events of the financial calendar, the Jackson Hole Economic Symposium. APAC market analyst David Scott joins us from StoneX in studio. My friend, it's good to see you. Give us a rundown of what exactly this is and why it's so important, just to begin.
G'day Mike, great to be here. Look, it's really important because we've got this lull over the Northern Hemisphere summer where you don't get a lot of action, and then all of a sudden you have an end of summer, they gather at Jackson Hole in Wyoming, big gathering, all the major central bankers, including the Federal Reserve that goes and hosts it, the Kansas City Fed hosts it. And a lot of the time, particularly in the post-GFC era, it's been used to go make big policy changes and announcements.
Okay, so let's touch on this year's theme. I understand it's transition. What exactly does that mean? It's a bit broad.
Yeah, transitions in labour markets. So okay. Labour markets in transition. So it kind of gives a allude to that we've been talking for a long, long time about inflation. Then all of a sudden we saw there was a very weak jobs report in the United States for July. And then that's gone and got markets very, very excited about the prospect of rate cuts from the Federal Reserve as soon as next month. So
we've got those inflation expectations on screen there as well.
Yeah.
Take us through a little bit further.
Yeah, so what we're looking at here, so this is the conundrum that the Fed has. And we've got Jay Powell, the Federal Reserve Chair, speaking later tonight. Inflation is above its mandated 2% level. A lot of the measures are moving further away. And these inflation expectations, the chart there, basically looking at 5-year expectations and 10-year expectations among market participants. And they're all well above 2% as well. So you've got this expectation out there that the Fed's not really keen to go and hit its inflation mandate, and that's problematic when it comes to the real world.
That's what we want to hear. Problematic, no. But Jerome Powell speaks, what's he expected to say? That's the all-important piece of this puzzle. It's
interesting because labour markets in transition is the thematic, but the mail, and it could be wrong of course, but some of the rumours circulating is that he's going to go and abandon what's called average inflation targeting. Now, it sounds really wonkish, but where it comes from, it basically is that if inflation was running below target for a long period of time, they could have more flexibility and let it run above target for a long period of time. And that's why that inflation expectation chart is showing that you're seeing markets think that the Fed has got not desire to actually go and finish its job.
Interesting, things that we've got there on the chart. But how's the Fed balancing a slowing labour market with all of this, and there's still high inflation as well? This is something that comes up a lot.
That's the thing, because this is the conundrum of having the dual mandate. So they don't just have to go and inflation target price stability, but they also have full employment. And at the moment, it's really obvious out there that the labour market in the United States is cooling. And we saw last night there were some jobless claims figures that came out. There was a bit of a spike. And all you can see there, particularly in the right-hand pane, that's what you call continuing claims. So people who've been receiving unemployment benefits for more than 1 week. And right now, that's sitting at cycle highs. That's at the levels that we've not seen since 2021. So that's telling you the labour market is slow, but at the same time, you've got inflation picking up. Not only because of tariffs, but there's also services inflation. So the Fed has this really tricky act. At this point though, markets, traders and the like are seeing what the Fed did last year. Inflation was above target then, and the labour market weakened. And then what did Jerome Powell do? The Fed went and cut 50 basis points. So that's why the market got very excited about that jobs report a few weeks ago.
Okay, so long-term inflation expectations aren't falling. What does this mean for everyday folks who are making their way to work and doing the public commute and all of this sort of thing day to day? What are we seeing?
I haven't mentioned rate hikes at all at the moment, but what it means is that if they are going to go stick to their mandate and Jay Powell is going to go and abandon that average inflation targeting, what it means is that in terms of what is going to happen with interest rates, they're more likely to start increasing again rather than decreasing. And that will be obviously very problematic in a world that's been designed to go and have lower interest rates. So that's one of the areas to go and be concerned about at this point in time, because markets have got very excited, valuations are very lofty, and part of that is premised on the fact that we're going to see sharply lower interest rates.
Yeah, great, fantastic. So where to from here? We're basically just waiting for Jerome to announce his piece.
Yeah, so for those night owls out there, Friday night, if you're coming back from a night out or something, go tune in midnight on the eastern coast of Australia. We'll see what he's got to say. Most famously, in 2022, he was slated to go and speak for 30 minutes. He spoke for less than 8 and just delivered the most hawkish speech, and that caused a lot of turbulence. So we'll see what he brings up this time. He was a dovish pivot last year. What's he got installed this year? Because there's so much other stuff going on with the Fed at the moment beyond Jackson Hole.
Yeah, absolutely. David Scott, I want to thank you for joining us in the studio today. Look forward to speaking again next week.
Great to be here.
Cheers.